What's going on? The APEcoach from Six Pack Gaming, where we bring you the best play to earn NFT games and new Metaverse projects. Now today we have a brand new NFT game in development here for all of you lunatics out there. This is the first and what I think is going to be one of the best games on the Terra Luna network, and it has all the things we love in these horse racing games. You can raise them, race them, breed them, rent them, all that good stuff. And as you can see, the graphics here look phenomenal. It has some really cool characteristics, including leveling your skills up of your horses, different types of talents and special abilities, all this great stuff. So I can't wait to dive into it here with you. Be sure to smash that thumbs up button, make sure you subscribe and got notifications turned on, and let's dive right into this. Alrighty, so here is Derby Stars. Acquire and ride your very own NFT racehorses, breed and nurture the very best horse. They did have their second pre-sale just finished about a month ago, I believe it was, in mid-February here on One Planet. So they've had two pre-sales, but they do still have a third pre-sale coming up. So this is still very, very early here. The game hasn't launched yet. No tokens have launched, and there's still a pre-sale for the NFT horses coming up. So this is always one of the best times to be getting into these projects, is before the initial sales, before the token launches. That is when there's the greatest potential reward, but also higher risk, right? So as always, not financial advice, do your own research, but let's dive into this, tell you what it's all about, and then you guys can kind of decide for yourself if this is something you want to dive into further. So, introducing a new NFT game, Derby Stars. Derby Stars will provide a high-quality player experience never seen before in an NFT game. So that is very promising already. Join and create history by raising your own world-class horses in a new metaverse full of various unique horses. You know, just from the artwork alone, like, you can tell this game is pretty high quality with the graphics, the animations, and, you know, these videos and teasers that they have out here. But in addition to that, the reason I'm even more bullish on this is all of their partners and backers. We have some huge names here. Hashed, we've got LUNATIcs Capital, we've got A41 Ventures, we've got Coin98, and then some of the guilds are already in here: GuildFi, Avocado Guild, Ready Player DAO, and then we have a big list of advisors here. We've got Ryan Wyatt, who was the former head of gaming for YouTube and now is the CEO of Polygon Studios. So massive support there. We've got Sebastian, who's the co-founder and COO of The Sandbox. They also have I believe the business dev of Google Play over here with Kevin Chow, and Daniel Kim, Chauncey St. John, SJ Park. All of these backers is huge. Plus they have unopened the Terra network themselves and Nod Games as advisors. In addition to this massive list of partners and backers and advisors, like I said, they have already had two pre-sale events for the NFT horses. They both sold out super fast. So they had their private stage for whitelisted members that was 5 Luna each for 1,500 of the common and rare horses. Then they had a public stage immediately after, same price, with 1,470. So that was about 3,000 horses in this second pre-sale, and I believe the first one was around the same amount as well. And then they also had an auction stage for 30 super unique horses that you can only get through the auction method, and the starting bid there was 25 Luna. I don't know what they all went for, but I would assume they went for probably double, triple that, considering there's only 30. Who knows, they could have went for 10 times that, but both of these sales sold out super fast, so that is very bullish. But you haven't missed out yet, okay? Because they still have a third pre-sale coming up. That's why I wanted to let you guys know all about it, so you have that opportunity to take advantage before all the sales are sold out and you have to, go to the secondary market, because there the prices are usually a bit inflated from the minting price, right? So the third one is coming up, but let's dive into the rest of the features of the game here first and let you know all about it. So, horse. Players own a variety of NFT horses and race them in Derby Stars. Horses are a key element of the game, and breeding them to produce a variety of offspring. In addition, their pedigree and racing records are stored permanently on chain. So there's that. We have the land in Derby Stars. Players can own not only horses, but also land. As a landowner, you become a rancher and can enjoy more in-depth play to reap various benefits. And there's going to be more about this we'll cover in just a minute here. We have the user avatars as well, which are also NFTs. Derby Stars, every player has their own avatar. Every avatar is a horse riding jockey and is an essential part to the racehorses. And then here is just a very basic roadmap here of what things are looking like, where they are. So we have Q1 2022. They're developing the tokenomics and they're going to be releasing the white paper soon here. We have the third pre-sale coming up in Q2. So that is this next quarter, these next few months, they'll have the third and final pre-sale. They've got the alpha game launching. They have horse rental coming Q3, and then, you know, PvP race tournaments, crafting system in Q4, and then they have the land and building NFTs and all that in 2023. So there's a lot that is still kind of being in development and going to be releasing over the remainder of the year and heading into 2023 as well. Okay, so now in addition to this, like, this is all looks fantastic, but you know, you might be thinking, you know, there's already Pegaxy, there's already Zedrun, there's already a bunch of these other horse racing games. What makes Derby Stars different? And there's quite a few things, in my opinion. There's a ton of different stats and skills for each of these horses. There's special abilities, elements that can be activated during the races as well. So we're going to go over those in just a second. Here is an awesome, just one-page overview summary that was just put together by Coin98 on Derby Stars. So this is a great way to get a snapshot of what this thing is as a whole. So Derby Stars is the first horse racing metaverse game to run on the Terra blockchain. Players can level up, breed, and trade horses and many things more. In the world of Derby Stars, horses have more than 10 different body parts, and each one falls into one of 3 tiers: normal, rare, and unique. Also, each horse will be born with 4 talents. Okay, then we have the core game features here. The horses are a key element of the game, and breeding them to produce a variety of offspring. Their pedigree and racing records are stored on chain. Land, which will be coming later, as we saw on the roadmap. In Derby Stars, players can own not only horses, but also land. As a landowner, you become a rancher and can enjoy more in-depth play to reap various benefits. And then user avatars in Derby Stars. Every player has their own avatar. Every avatar is a horse riding jockey and is an essential partner to the racehorses. Okay, and then we have the advisors here, all of the investors and partners here, huge. And then we have the horses pre-sale. Whitelisted members can mint up to 3 NFTs per wallet within the period. The public sale, anyone can mint up to 3 horses per wallet, including the amount if they minted in the private stage. So you could technically get 6 if you were in the private, and then you buy in the public as well. And then there is an auction where anyone can bid and mint a very unique horse. Okay, so that's kind of everything we just went over, but that's a nice little snapshot all in one place on the Twitter here. And now one additional thing I wanted to share here was the lead producer here of Derby Stars, Sean Ham. He's been sharing a lot of cool things on his Twitter. So here he's like, I'm reading all kinds of horse racing and training comic books to make Derby Stars great. So this is actually really cool to see. He's got like all of these crazy, books on horse racing and training and all this stuff. So it's really cool to see him like doing his research. And in addition to this, he's actually already built a game similar to this in the past many years ago. So my work Derby Days 10 years ago had various concept competitions. In addition to running on the grass, there was also races of running in water and pulling carts. Derby Stars are also planning various trainings and competitions. Look forward to it. So he already had a game 10 years ago that was very successful, had a very large player base in the hundreds of thousands, and had some really cool and unique events and ways of training the horses, pulling carts and things like that. So that could be something that we would be, expecting to see in Derby Stars, obviously with far greater graphics and things that we saw in the trailer earlier. But I just wanted to point that out. He's been sharing a lot of cool things and, some sneak peeks and info on the game. He did an AMA here with One Planet before the pre-sale, the second pre-sale there, and he's been, just releasing more little tidbits about the game and stuff that I think are going to be, very valuable to keep up with if you're wanting to follow the progress of this game. Obviously, there is the Discord and the official Twitter for Derby Stars as well, to kind of keep up with this stuff also. But what I want to do now is jump into, you can check out like their Medium, and they have a bunch of articles on the different sort of elements of Derby Stars. We've got the stats and skills of the horses and all of that sort of stuff. But I actually found a Medium article that was put together by A41 Ventures here that basically summarized everything in this game and has some additional info from the white paper that I don't believe has been shared with the public yet. So this is kind of the only place to find it. So I want to go through this whole article with you guys and show you everything that Derby Stars has to offer, because I think this is the best overall article put together to explain all of the different elements that have been gathered from AMAs and from articles and all of that stuff all in one place. Alrighty, so Derby Stars is a racing horse breeding simulation game based on the Terra blockchain. And it says here there is the three sort of core elements of battle, training, and farming. Battles are depicted as races between horses, breeding as horse breeding, and training and farming is reflected in the game through passive income through the land. Let's take a closer look at each. So here is the racing, fundamental basis of Derby Stars. It's not a first-person racing game like The Horse and My Story Alicia. I don't really know what that is. And the outcome of a match is determined through how well a player has trained the horse with the right racing tactic. It is expected that you will be able to observe different outcomes per game as various variables, so tracks, competing horses, etc., that may influence the outcome of a game. How these variables influence the game will be covered in more detail in section 2. So one of the things with the races is you're going to have like a pre-game lobby, similar to what Pegaxy kind of mentioned initially, where you're going to be able to evaluate the course sort of elements and the track conditions and that sort of thing. In this, there's various tracks that the horses can race on. There's turf as well as dirt, and there may be others in the future as well. And then there's also going to be different like weather and race conditions and stuff that you're going to have to factor in and evaluate both your own horse's stats, skills, and special abilities, as well as all the competing horses. So I don't know if it's going to be like a 1 minute or 2 minute like pre-game lobby where you can strategize and pick the right horse for the right course, that sort of thing. But there will be an element of skill and strategy right from the get-go, it sounds like, with the races here. So that is another great thing to see, is the skill-based or strategy-based earnings rather than just straight RNG. Okay. Now, breeding. To run a race, you need a racehorse. In Derby Stars, you can breed your own horses to create new horses with higher stats. The breed itself requires a pair of horses, but you don't have to have all of them. So it says you can breed your own horses with other people's horses. The person who wants to breed and own the newborn horse has to pay a certain cost to the counterpart horse owner, the stallion owner, in order to execute the breeding process. Okay, so that is very similar to the system that is in place in Pegaxy as well. The stud service, this sounds like the same thing. You have your one horse, you pay an additional fee, breed with someone else's horse, and they get the fee of the token, you get the offspring horse. Okay, the stats inherited during breeding are not completely random. The stats of the mating horses are considered by default, and these stats are randomly passed on to the offspring. Mutations can also occur, which is randomly determined. The probabilistic determination of the result of this cross, although in itself obeys the laws of heredity, is to prevent unilateral power inflation. Although there is no guarantee that only good results will be obtained, even if the horses with excellent properties are bred, there's a chance that they may have superior or very unique mutant characteristics. Okay, so there's going to be some strategy involved in the breeding as well, because the higher stat, the higher skilled horses that are bred together are more likely, though not guaranteed, to produce some more unique horses with the potential for very unique mutations in their breeding, which is very cool. Some of the unique things here, though, is the number of matings all horses is limited to 10. So that is actually huge. 10 breeds for these horses. That's bigger than, you know, Axie or Pegaxy or Cyball or any of these others. The number of matings is deducted only for calving horses. Stallions that receive mating costs are not deducted. and Derby Stars horses do not have a gender, and the role in breeding is up to the player to choose. So that is a very unique thing as well. There's no genders with the horses, so you can breed any of the horses together. There are basic costs that will be paid in addition to the cost of the stallion when breeding, and the cost is to be paid in CRT tokens, which is going to be one of their tokens. These costs increase as the number of matings is deducted. The proportion of run tokens to be paid increases as the rarity of the horse increases. Okay, so CRT is like the governance token, like PGX and Pegaxy. Run is going to be similar to this, the utility token earned in game through races and things like that. A calving horse can give birth again after 7 days, so there's a full week-long birth or breeding cooldown period here. And then a foal born by a horse is in soul state and can evolve into a foal NFT by pressing the claim button after 5 days. So there's a 5-day incubation period where the baby horses aren't going to be able to race, and then the foal NFT will automatically grow into an adult horse after 3 days. So I don't know if you have to wait. Like, I don't know if foal horses can race, or if you're going to have to train them for like 3 days before they can race once they've been born. But this could potentially mean that there's a 7-day breeding cooldown period for all the horses that breed, and then potentially 8 days of a racing cooldown before the offspring can race again. So this is pretty unique to see, to have like a full week cooldown for the breeding, and potentially up to 8 days until they can race again, maybe 5. But that's at least going to extend the population sort of growth rate of the horses. Training: horses are born with various traits, but through training, their abilities can be strengthened and players can obtain additional rewards through training. Okay, so this is cool. You're going to be able to upgrade your horses, level them up, level up their skills or their stats, and make them stronger as you train them. So this is the process. It looks like select a tournament, which is PvE, to participate in. Players choose which ability they want to train. The training starts where you may have to play some like various mini games as part of the training. Training period ends, and then you progress through the tournament, this PvE tournament. So it says the training program has main goals and additional goals. Only when the main goals are met can you continue training for the next season. The more additional objectives you complete, the more bonus points you earn, and the higher your rating will be. Players receive more token rewards and food rewards if they score in a higher rank. Lands here, Derby Stars land is also an NFT. This is still a work in progress, so it's difficult to share the details. It's expected to be able to farm resources just like the guild houses and cafes in other collectible breeding simulation games. Here's a little breakdown of their sort of token structure here, the P2E flow that they have. So players can earn money by playing Derby Stars, which consists of the above elements in the following ways: earn rewards by training horses, okay, which is going to be CRT tokens and food, etc. Participate in various tournaments to obtain rewards. Rewards are going to be run tokens there, which is like the utility token. Obtain rewards by providing stallions for breeding. Again, it'll be a CRT token cost. Acquire NFTs through breeding and make profits by selling those NFTs in the market, and rent horses to other players and earn a portion of the profits from those horses, similar to an Axie Infinity scholarship model. So this is the thing that I'm super excited for. Again, although the design of the farming profit structure itself is very similar to other P2E games, Derby Stars requires players to make strategic choices and actively engage in gameplay in order to optimize performance compared to other P2E games. It is not guaranteed that you'll always get the same results when you play, and you'll have to make the right choices for each situation, which we'll talk about in more detail in the next section. Racehorse. Now that you've covered the basic game elements, it's time to take a closer look at the Racehorse, a key pillar of the game. Each horse is an NFT, the alpha and omega of Derby Stars. Each racehorse has its own unique appearance, abilities, and aptitudes. So each of the horses is made up of 8 body parts, and each body part has a common, rare, and unique grade. Unique grades cannot be passed down through breeding and can only be acquired through pre-sales and sales. So if you have horses with unique grade body parts, those can only ever be acquired through the pre-sales or through the secondary market. So those are going to be extremely valuable if you happen to mint one of those, or you can snag one off the market for a decent price. You can see the differences in, you know, a common, a rare, and a unique in both the horse appearance, their body parts, as well as the sort of background that they have there. And then it says each horse has 5 types of stats, 4 types of talents, 2 types of track preferences, and 6 skills. So that is a lot. What is that? 17 different elements to each horse to, you know, evaluate and be aware of. Okay, the overall game design is quite similar to that of Uma Musume Pretty Derby, which I haven't heard of that, but it does look very similar. And here we go here. So here are the 5 types of stats. The stats are indicators that determine the performance of a racehorse. However, the number of abilities alone does not determine the outcome of the match. Each horse has its own aptitude, and these aptitudes and abilities are correlated with each other. And depending on which stadium you play in, the horse's aptitude may or may not work well. In other words, simply having a high level of ability itself does not guarantee a dominant advantage. The details of each stat are as follows. So you've got speed, power, stamina, grit, and intellect. Okay, so those are the 5 basic ones. Speed is just top speed. Power is resistance to penalties. Stamina, the amount of time a horse can run at top speed. Grit is the resistance to slow debuffs, the track and weather, and resistance when surrounded by other horses. So these are all like different debuffs that can happen during the race. Grit will help you kind of avoid those. And then intelligence, skill activation, probability, vision, and debuff resistance. So intelligence will be very important too, especially if you have a horse with a very unique skill in order for it to actually be activated more frequently. Here are the talents, which refer to the driving habits of a horse. In other words, it means a unique habit of how a horse races. And I actually heard in the AMA, the founder was talking about this and saying that, you know, in real life, horses have unique sort of habits and ways that they like to run and race and that. So he tried to implement that into the game in a more like realistic fashion. So that is actually really, really cool to see as well. So it says such a habit is categorized into 4 different styles. If you choose to adopt the racing style in a match in which your horse has a high talent score, you have a greater chance of winning the race. So there's 4 different talents that you can select. If your horse happens to be high in that talent, that could, you know, improve your odds of performing better in the race. So players can decide which style they would like to race their horse in prior to the start of the match. Players should not only take the talent scores of their horses into consideration, but also consider the talents of their competitors as well, since these talents are something that each horse acquires through birth. These talents cannot be trained nor upgraded through other means. All right, so then we have the runaway runner, the front runner, stalker, and stretch runner. So runaway runner is this one right here. Running in the lead from start to finish. Racehorses that have talents in this racing style should have high stats in speed, stamina, and strength to maintain the lead in a given race. So these guys are just, they're the, you know, the leaders of the pack that just like to go all out all the way through. So it's going to be important to maximize your stats that allow for that. Front runner is a type that maintains a position close to the lead from the beginning, and then they go to overtake them in the end. So here strength is really important because the style of racing requires last minute acceleration, and speed and stamina are important as well. So both of these first 2, you're going to want good speed, stamina, and strength. Now we have the stalker. This is a racing style that maintains the bottom position, then increases speed in the second half. So it says power and stamina will be important, as this type of racing requires a lot of tactical takeovers. Intelligence might also be important to use skills at the right time. And finally, stretch runner. So rather than competing with all the other horses, stretch runners stay at the back and take a hard comeback in the second half. The importance of grit is pretty low with these guys. The track preference. So there's 2 types of terrains in Derby Stars, turf and dirt. So your horse will have a preference for one of these. So you can see this one has a track preference for turf. Skills. So each racehorse also has skills. There are over 500 skills in Derby Stars. That's crazy. And they can be classified into just 2 types. There's a special skill and a common skill. A special skill is a skill with a strong performance that can only be used during the last spurt of the race. The common skill is just basic, that is activated when it's not in the last spurt. So that can be activated any other time of the race. The skills are activated based on probability when the conditions for the skill to be activated are met during the race. There's no innovation intervention from players required, so you don't have to physically activate these skills. They're just you know, when the time comes up and your probability hits, there's a bit of RNG with it, then it'll be activated, otherwise it will not. So it says after the skill is activated, once a cooldown is applied. In addition, all skills have ranks, so there's levels 1 to 10 for general skills and 1 to 5 for special skills. Skills with higher rankings have relatively stronger effects. Let's take a look at the example of a racehorse below. So this is what you'll see when you go to your racehorse. It shows all the different stats, talents, track preferences, and skills. And I actually got 3 horses in the last pre-sale here, so I can show you. I actually managed to mint 1 rare one, which is very nice. And here you will see, so we've got the stats, the talents, the track preference. So you can see this one likes turf but doesn't like dirt. Okay, so that is going to be a negative effect if I'm racing on a dirt track with this horse, but it has things like this S tier in runaway runner. It's got 80 speed, which I think is fairly high here, and then decent power and stamina. And then you can see I have the reward of the journey 3. So this is a level 3 special skill. So again, a very nice skill. And then the body parts down here that kind of show you all of these are common, but then the rare is the body part here on the horse that has, you know, these kind of rainbow patterns and designs. But really cool. I really like these NFTs too. They're all like 3D. You can move them around and everything kind of reacts in real time, shake the tail and all that. But these actually look pretty dope, so I'm stoked with those. And then I have my 2 common horses here as well. But let's go over the stats again here, just to give you an idea. So the racehorse below is excellent in strength and speed in terms of stats, and is an outstanding runaway runner. Okay, so it looks like my guy was actually really good in speed and power. And then we also have a really good runaway runner as well. This means that once the race starts, the horse has the stats and the talent to stay in the lead and continue to dominate the race. Okay, so this guy, because it has the runaway runner ability, he just leads the pack from start to finish. So the fact that I have that and my guy has 80 speed, this guy should be a bit of a beast. All right, he's gonna take the lead and he is just going to plow through. And then we also have this special skill that if by some chance I am not in the lead during the final spurt, I get a speed increase as well. So that is huge. This guy is basically designed to just run like the wind from start to finish. And then if by chance he's not leading at the end, he still has a special ability that can be activated to just boost him through at the end. So I think this guy will be quite a force to reckon with here. Okay, so here it is. Next, in the case of skills, the special skill gives additional speed if you're not in first in the last spurt. Oh, this is so weird. This is literally the exact skill that I have on my horse. So this is basically my horse that's used as the example here, just with some differences in the stats, obviously. But okay, so gives additional speed if you're not in first in the last sprint, and can be viewed as a skill that prevents you from being pushed back by horses with late stage talents. The common skills are also composed of things that help the horse regain the lead in case it falls behind. All in all, this horse is well suited to lead in the early and middle stage, and also has the right skill sets to maintain the lead throughout the entire race. However, since the intelligence level is low, there is a chance that the skills might not be activated when needed, which may lead to undesirable outcomes. So that is something to keep in mind as well. And I think my horse here is the exact same. Yeah, intellect is very low, so that could be problematic in that it might not activate these skills when I need them to. So, you know, it might be worthwhile me upgrading the intellect just to be able to activate these skills, since he's already strong in speed and power. But, you know, that is something we'll decide as we kind of get into the game, and we can kind of figure out the strategies and all of that. In addition to all of this, right, there's lots of stats and skills and special abilities and all this. There is also fatigue management. So each racehorse has a status indicator called condition. A high condition means low fatigue, and a low condition means high fatigue, right? Makes sense. When the horse performs various activities, this condition value is deducted, and when it falls below a certain level, the activities the horse are supposed to do may be disrupted. So players make strategic choices when training and utilizing horses, as they may be penalized and even be unable to participate in training programs, tournaments, etc. The condition naturally recovers over time, but you can also restore it right away by providing the horse with a specific type of food. So this is another really cool element that they've worked into these, that, you know, your horse gets degraded over time, or, you know, fatigues over time, and you can either wait for that to replenish, or you can pay some tokens, get some food, and feed your horse, and you know, restore it right away. So that is awesome. And it says the reason for introducing this system is to avoid excessive resource inflation through macro software and auto farming. So this is, you know, to prevent bots and all that sort of stuff. What makes it a little different from other games is that fatigue is applied to each horse rather than to the account of the player. So this is very similar in the sense to Pegaxy, where each of the Pegas have, you know, 25 energy per day. It sounds like this is going to be similar, where the horses have a condition that degrades each day, and it's linked to the horse itself, not necessarily the account, like Axie Infinity, where you only have, you know, X amount of energy per day on that account, but the actual Axies themselves don't have any sort of energy cooldown or whatever. So it says the intention here is to make players breed and train different types of horses while avoiding situations where the player has nothing left to do and cease playing the game. Level and growth. Each horse has a level. For each level increase, you will receive 1 point to invest in the horse's stats. Points must be strategically distributed based on the horse's current set of stats, talents, and skills. So again, this is very similar to Cyball. If you guys have watched my videos on that or have played it yourself, every time you level up your Cyblock, you get 1 point to apply to your stats. This is very similar here. Every time you level the horse, you can apply it to your horse and increase their stats. I think this is an awesome feature and addition to this game that makes it more of like an RPG feel, gives it more of an RPG element to it, right? You have some control over the development of your horses and the strategies that you use them. So to level up, you need to feed the horses with food. Food is a one-time use item that can be obtained through gameplay, and in addition to using it for the purpose of raising the level of the horse, it can also be used to obtain various additional effects that can help with gameplay. Food can only be obtained through training at the moment, but it will be possible to create them through crafting in the future. Okay, so this is something that I kind of, you know, didn't get right up here. You're not just going to be able to pay tokens and buy the food. You have to do the training in order to acquire the food. But in the future, when they implement the crafting system, you'll be able to, you know, utilize resources to craft food. So that'll be a very cool burning mechanism, and that'll also help to the fact that initially you can only get the food through like training and that sort of stuff kind of makes it more of a scarce resource, right? So that's going to control people's exhaustion of their horses. They're not just going to be able to like pay to win and keep racing, you know, indefinitely kind of thing. You have to actually like play the game, and you know, there's kind of a limit to it that's built into the gameplay itself. So that is very cool. And then once they implement crafting, I mean, that's just an additional mega burning mechanism for people to invest into as well. So I think that's a very cool sort of boost to the economy to come later down the line. All right, so food for racing provides buffs to help in racing, such as tournaments, and then food for training provides buffs that can provide various benefits during training. There's also other food for special purposes, food not related to racing or training. There are food items that can reset and redistribute the horse's stats, so that is huge as well. Expected results from the above design. If a horse with a high average stats wins races continuously, the diversity of the game would decrease, resulting in a simple pay-to-win game. Derby Stars has chosen to eliminate elements that would undermine the competitiveness of the game by designing a system that the strategic decision-making of players have a high level of influence over the outcome. So that is something that I'd love to see with this as well. It is not just a pay-to-win. It involves a lot of strategy, and the way that you level up your horses, the way that you use your horses and strategically position them for the races is going to have a big impact on the outcome of the races and your ability to win and earn rewards. Okay, in addition, the fatigue system allows players to strategically manage the horses they want to train and the horses they want to run the race on, since each player will train horses in diverse ways, and as different horses compete in different races, the outcome of PvP tournaments will vary. Stadium conditions also have an impact, which includes not only the terrain but also the weather, race length, course configuration, whether it's straight, it's got curves, etc. And the player may want to train and breed different types of horses, as each horse has different strengths in each racing environment. This means that even new players who don't yet have a wide variety of assets have a chance to win races and perform well. This is a measure that prevents the so-called depression of the game, the high barrier to entry, leaving only the OGs to a certain extent. So they've acknowledged that a lot of these games, you know, a lot of these like bigger guilds and whales and stuff buy in, they buy all the best things, the floor price gets shot through the roof, and people that are coming in with less resources don't have the same chance to compete with these guys, so they kind of get crushed. And so they're trying to prevent that and work in ways that strategy can outperform money, essentially, which I think is awesome. Awesome. Here is just a quick overview of the token structure, very similar to Axie, to Pegaxy, to Cyball. A lot of these games, they have a main governance token and the play to earn or utility token. I actually got the name of these mixed up earlier when I was talking about them. Run is going to be the governance token, and CRT or carrot token is going to be the utility token. But it works very much the same way. One of the cool things with this though is the governance token can actually be won in the PvP races and through completing achievements. So very cool to be able to win the governance tokens here. And then obviously it says this is needed for governance, staking, and payment. So this here says a fixed max supply of 50 million tokens, but I noticed in the text below here it says 500 million. That makes a little bit more sense to me for the governance token when you consider like Axie and Pegaxy and that they're 1 billion supply. So I think 500 million is what it's supposed to be here, and perhaps the infographic, they were just missing a 0, but it could be either 50 or 500 million. As I said, this is very early stages. None of this is finalized yet, so this may, you know, be subject to change as well. The carrot tokens here though are rewarded for PvE training, building on land, needed for breeding, crafting, and synthesis. This hasn't even been mentioned anywhere as far as I know, but that sounds like you're going to be able to mesh multiple horses together into one to upgrade them. That's what I would get out of that. So that seems really cool. I don't know if that's what that means, but that's what I would think. And obviously there's no max supply with this one, and that is kind of the breakdown here. And then it also says you know, as you can see, the issuance method and usage of the two tokens is clearly different. This means that players will need different tokens depending on how they play the game. Of course, you know, both tokens are going to be required, but for those who want to play more actively, it says the importance of Run or the governance token will be relatively higher, whereas the players who want to create passive income, the importance of CRT is going to be, you know, relatively higher as of importance, right? If you want to be able to breed and craft and, you know, just rent your horses out rather than be like in the game playing, racing, all that sort of stuff, CRT is obviously going to be that main utility token for breeding and doing all those things. So we have the fees. So transactions, a percentage of the NFT transactions is paid as a fee, and breeding of the costs incurred during breeding. All run tokens are credited to the DAO, and all CRT tokens are burned. Okay, so there's going to be a certain number of run tokens, so that would be considered your PGX, and a certain number of CRT, which would be like your VIS, right? And so the governance token is going to go to the DAO. The utility tokens are just going to be burned, so very similar structure there. Okay, so it just says fees are incurred when trading, selling, and breeding the horses. This fee is for the game development team to maintain the long-term lifespan of the game, and is one of the backstops to prevent infinite inflation of the utility token. Team, they're veterans with many years of experience in the gaming industry. In addition, lead producer Sean has experience developing and servicing a game of the same genre in the past called Derby Days, which was launched in 2012, and you can check out like a little, there's a 10-minute video here that they have linked. Oh, there was like a little horse, or they're pulling the carts. There we go. They earned the prize. So we could, I guess, expect something similar to this. They have these horses where the horses have to like go and do various tasks and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm assuming it'll be something similar to this, but, you know, with upgraded graphics and, you know, perhaps different game elements that they would have learned through playing this game and developing that game as well. And so that is kind of everything to do with this. One thing I did want to mention as well, the team, Sean is kind of the lead producer, but he did mention on the AMA with One Planet that the team is about 20 people already, and they're expanding as they're developing things further. So it is a fairly sizable team. They have great background experience in producing the game. They have been studying to all of these other, you know, play to earn NFT games and stuff to try to come up with game mechanics and utilization of tokens and the proper tokenomics to be able to balance the economy better, to be able to sustain the game longer, and to be able to offer something very unique. All of that in addition to this being on the Terra Luna network, which has become increasingly popular in the, you know, DeFi space and one of the biggest coins in all of crypto now. I believe Luna is up to number 7 here. There we go. Luna is up to 7 of total market cap, just under Ripple, and USDC just up a little bit there. UST has also been growing in use here with being the 14th highest stable coin there, or the 14th highest coin, one of the top stable coins. So all of this, the continual growth of both Terra USD as well as UST, as well as Luna, moving into the top 7 coins in market cap of all crypto. Very, very bullish, especially in the current sort of bearish trend of the market. You can really see Luna has been outperforming most other coins here, and I am super excited to be seeing some games coming on the Luna network. I am pumped for Derby Stars here, but let me know, what are your thoughts? Are you guys interested in this? Like I said, there is going to be one last pre-sale coming up, the 3rd pre-sale, and I don't remember if they have it on the roadmap here or not. Here, Q2. Okay, so coming up next quarter, sorry I bumped that, coming up next quarter is going to be the 3rd and final pre-sale, as well as the alpha launch of the game. So if this is something you're wanting to get into, if you're as bullish on this as I am, obviously, as always, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research. Do not afford more, you know, do not invest more than you can afford, and you know, make your own sort of financial decisions. I'm just sharing, you know, my opinions, my thoughts, and the information that I was able to gather on this. If you're wanting to check out the market, you can click on the One Planet thing here. You can still get a floor price horse for actually just under what the initial minting cost was, being 5 Luna. You can get one for 4.98. Most of these though are around 6+, somewhere between the 6 to 7 Luna range, and that will just get you a common horse. So I would think one of the better strategies would be to get active in the community, try to get whitelisted for that 3rd pre-sale, which I don't believe they've released any info on yet, but you know, be active in the community, try to get a whitelist spot there, and then you will have a chance to mint up to 3 of these horses for, I don't know if it'll be the same cost of 5 Luna or if they'll bump it up a little bit. I think for the very first pre-sale it was only 3 Luna, and then they bumped it to 5 for the second, so it could be the case that the 3rd one goes to 7 Luna or something like that. But you know, those are just speculations, not based on any actual fact here, but that is an option if you're wanting to get into it. Otherwise, just, you know, stay active, stay updated with it, and I will keep you guys updated with any sort of new events and news that come out with the game. All right, but let me know your thoughts below. What are your thoughts on this? Are you guys bullish on this? Are you excited about another horse racing and breeding game? Are you looking for something different? You know, let me know. Drop a comment down below. Be sure, as always, to smash that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe and got notifications turned on so you never miss these updates on the best upcoming play to earn NFT games and new metaverse projects. I am really looking forward to this, with, you know, the background of the team, with the design of the horses, and just the overall sort of like anime vibe to it. I really enjoy, as well as all of the big investors and advisors behind this project and being on Luna. Those are all just huge W's for me personally, but again, make your own choices with this. Just before we hop off here, we'll send a shout out to some of the new subs. I did a bunch in the last live stream here, so we only have a couple. Travis, Diagonal, Sam, Glenn became a member of the Monkey Gang. Welcome aboard. Let's go. Ray, Guko, Sun, and Tom. Thank you guys so much for all the support. As always, I could not do this without you guys, so appreciate it. Welcome to Six Pack Gaming. And if you guys are wanting to support the channel even more than you already are just being here watching, we do have the memberships available. You click join. Sorry, let me mute that. You click join either below this video or on my main page, and you can become a member of the Monkey Gang, Gorilla Squad, or Alpha Apes. Totally optional and up to you, but it does give you VIP Discord access as well as a special role in there, early alpha on upcoming projects and things of that nature. All right, so if you're wanting to get into that, that is an option. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, until next time, train hard, game hard, keep making those life-changing gains, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, everyone.